scissors?
Sure. Was that you? Was that you asking, or was that you like silently clapping? Because if it was silently clapping, I don't want to force you to go first.
Oh, I think we're already deep in the game now. I want to see.
Right?
I want to see the rock paper scissors.
Okay.
Okay. We're doing rock paper scissors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you count down to 3, Sarah?
Okay.
Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. August
darn.
wins.
Okay. Cool.
Take it away.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna share my screen, go through my portfolio really quick. I probably won't read out all the text, but I'll give an idea of what I've done. I'm pretty proud of the aesthetic, and then I'm gonna read a short story that I'm really proud of. So I'll just get screen sharing up. Okay, so for my portfolio, I used the same format that I usually do, and I chose to do something a bit different this time. All of my visual accompaniment is by the artist Sarah Kippen. And I stole it all from one specific set, which was a copy she did of the sword suit of Terra. So for topic 1, this goes through stuff we all know about, my presentation on Hawaii and snorkeling, which is awesome, and then the learning plan, which I'm quite proud of. Topic 2, leadership workshop agenda, which me and Kiana worked on, which was incredible. And then the leadership workshop response, which was the glowing response from Suzanne about how well it went. That was a really pleasing thing to hear. And I'll link this whole presentation in the chat so you guys can still explore it on your own time if you want, but no reason to. Topic 3, this goes into both my 20 hours of volunteering and my time with Suzanne's pod, because I did both of those at once. So I used the sci-fi writing workshop as my 20 hours of volunteering. I wasn't able to access the recordings. There was some muddled stuff with that. I might get in contact with Suzanne and try and find them again, but it was a bit last minute, so I've just used a recording that Kiana had on hand. And I'm really, that's probably the thing I'm proudest of doing in GM11. I think I put a lot of work into that, and it taught me a lot about teaching and about having a leadership role. And it was a really awesome experience because I'm considering going into education. So that was a really sort of empowering moment to have. And Suzanne was wonderful about making sure I had time to sort of try things out and discuss. And then topic 4 is this topic, but I decided that since I'm currently doing this topic, I would instead sort of devote this to my creative writing, which I've been very proud of this year. I've grown a lot. I've really honed my skill, I think. And I've included 3 different works here. A poem I wrote, a short story I wrote, and an analysis I wrote, all from this year. And each of those was really something I'm proud of. And I'm actually going to read out a short story, the short story specifically, because it's, I think, my favorite thing I've ever written. So I'm going to go through that really quick. It's not too long, so I shouldn't go above time limit or anything. But yeah, and then I'll head on to the last slide after that. And there's no visual accompaniment, but you can read along if you want. You lay in the darkness on your small twin bed, the springs digging into your back with every shift. The room is windowless, and while dank would be too harsh a word, you can feel the humidity gathering tight against your skin with every passing second. You look at the small LED alarm clock beside your bed, the glaring red lights spelling out 2:21 a.m., 4 hours until you have to get to work. You sigh and close your eyes, and as a shiver passes from head to toe, you slip into memory. She'd been your age, a year older maybe. You had grown up next door to her. She was pretty and sweet and kind. You can barely remember what your street looked like. You try to picture parents' faces and they're just not there. Like trying to make out shapes in TV static. But you can remember hers. A button nose, a soft smile, blonde hair kept short as a child and grown out in adolescence, but always kept up out of her eyes. She was, in a word, perfect. She'd been your best friend, playing together, growing together, keeping secrets together. She'd been there when you buried your first pet, and you had studied together for every exam. She was patient and kind and always let you read her notes. When you were 14, you told her how you felt, and for the first time in either of your lives, you kissed. Chaste and perfect, you can still almost taste her lips. You can almost remember how they felt against yours. You remember it, that first summer together. Even though you had spent every summer of your lives together, this was different, more intoxicating. Walking through the woods behind your house to the little secret places the two of you shared, the places that were yours. The time you spent with her was the best of your life. You remember the heartbreak when she told you she was moving across the country on the last day of summer, the betrayal of her keeping it from you so you could spend your time together without it looming, the kindness in that gesture. You remember helping her pack her room, finding the little trinkets and memories of the tangled lives you had led. You remember the last time you saw her, standing awkwardly beside the moving van. You remember the last kiss, too. You remember the last kiss you had shared there. The feel of her lips against yours, the same as the first time, but different, too. You remember the feeling of loss in your gut, like a yawning pit as you watch, the truck turns the corner of your street and disappears, gone from your life forever. A second shiver passes through your body. Where you had once been lying on your back in bed, you've shifted to your side, cradling yourself in the fetal position. You can feel the tears and snot that ran indiscriminately down your face. You reach behind your head to the nape of your neck and, with little ritual, yank the thick cable from its port embedded in your spine. When you pull it out, it feels kind of like mic feedback sounds, a sharp metallic whine in your bones and your eardrums and your brain, which slowly quiets to a slight hum. You sit up gently, wiping your face with the hem of your shirt. You look at your alarm clock, 4:16 a.m. Shit. You pull your laptop onto your lap and click to the player you had used. You wrangled the cursor with the mouse pad, pulling the memory recording back to its beginning. You sighed gently before pushing the cable back into its slot with a click. You press the play button and lie back. You remember. And yeah, that's the short story that I'm really proud of. And I've got the last
Do you want to give a moment for thought?
Yeah.
Maybe? 'Cause
Yeah,
there's
sure.
lots there.
Yeah, because like I have the last tab here of this, but I feel like that's a better note to end on. So I can leave that up. So yeah, was that like you thinking of people asking questions, Sarah? Or just talking about my
Or just
process,
even if there is a moment, I can start like the first shiver that you did. I honestly had a shiver, and then like the
Right.
second one too. Like that was like a really cool addition that really brought the reader in.
Thank you.
Yeah, really neat. Anyone else have any experiences of being read to? It's kind of
that was just really good. I'm excited to read your first book that you published.
Thank you. Thank you a lot. Because yeah, I'm really excited for that too. Believe me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I wish I could. Well, it's just obvious that you spend a lot of time looking into words, I guess. Like it was so short, but it showed a lot, I guess.
Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, I think just like sort of deep breath and move on. Oh, wow, that works a lot better than I expected with my moving on tab right here. Look at that. Yeah, so this year has been really good. I've learned a lot. I've pushed myself. I think I've gained a lot of skill, as I hopefully illustrated there. I'm really proud of how much I've learned. And yeah, but it's also been hard. I've gone through unexpected changes. I've been pushed further with school and responsibilities than I ever have been. But honestly, I'm just excited to be moving on. I think that I've really grown a lot this year, and I'm hoping that next year will be a really good final note to high school. Sort of seeing how everything comes together. And that's my presentation.
Yay, thanks.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Well thought out. Beautiful snippets of sharing. Yeah, really cool story there. And right on time.
Hey, look at that. Not bad.
So do we let Lucienne go next, or do Lucienne and Kiana play rock, paper, scissors?
I honestly don't care. You can go next.
Okay.
Are we supposed to show? I have a quick question though. Are we supposed to show our portfolio? Because I didn't even think of that, and like I could, but it's like
that part was optional, Kiana. If you want to, feel free. If you want to just focus on the one artifact today, that was the main asking. So yeah, that's up to you. So Lucienne, yeah, why don't you take it away?
So I don't think it's going to be quite as impressive as August's thing there, but I have a link to a document I made with my brother that I'm very proud about. Sarah said it was really good, and it could have been made into an artifact, but it wasn't really ever developed into a proper artifact. I just sent the link in there. If people want to pop on in and check it out, I feel like it's something that's really cool.
Well, let's back up for a moment, because what's the definition of an artifact, you guys?
Yeah, what is the definition of an artifact? I'm always puzzled by that.
What do you think? Let's get everyone's thoughts in here for a moment.
I've never thought of it as having any definition. Yes.
I think that it's a piece of work that you have taken something away from or have put work into to be able to show people visually or orally.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And Kira, if it hasn't had a definition, what do you picture in your mind? Is it?
I just picture any work that you.
Yeah.
Like I've put art but also just written documents can be.
So a representation of your learning in one form or another.
Yeah.
And what about you, August? Oh, sorry, Emily said something you are proud of. Love that, Emily. Nice.
Yeah, I think it's well, the word artifact sort of denotes like a specific important piece of something you've learned or done, or something a remnant of something you've done that you're specifically proud of.
Totally. And it's evidence, right? That's what artifacts are, like the buried evidence of something that's happened in the past. So it's you don't even have to be proud of it, and it can still be an artifact actually. But the way that we use them, we highlight them within self-design as landmarks along your learning journey, right? So so for today, yeah, it was something that you're proud of, something that you wanted to share. And I think that's a really great question and a great place to start. So Lucienne, I think this would be an excellent artifact, is why I wanted to bring that up.
Right.
So let's dive in. Do you want to share your screen, Lucienne? It's kind of nice for the recording when we get like the whole visual.
All right. Right. For the screen. Okay. Screen share, entire screen share, and click there. There we go. Spaceship chess, first page. So I'll go into a bit of a story about how this game came to be, because that's what it is. It's a game you play on a board, and so me and my brother, we build Lego spaceships a lot, and we usually battled with them, but usually it was just us holding our spaceships and then just punching the other spaceships out of each other's hands and blasting them to bits. And so I wanted to come up with a much better way of doing it that does not require you to completely obliterate the ship. And so we came up with this turn-based game that, how could I put it? It's kind of like chess, but it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of its own unique thing, I guess, really. And so we've got like ship healths and damage outputs, and like you have to roll dice to battle and such, and you roll dice to see how much your spaceship can move, and things that make it an amazing game. We actually have a board that it's about as tall as I am, which is about 6 feet. So it's 6 feet long by about like, I don't know, what is it, like 4 feet wide? And it's just all it's just covered in a bunch of squares. And because of the squares, you can then put your spaceship on it and see how many squares it takes up. And how many squares your ship occupies on the board tells you how much health your ship has, how much damage it does, how much points you need to move it. And it's pretty cool. I really don't know what else I could say about it. I could set board for showing in Asher's room, Mom. Okay, that's gonna happen hopefully soon. But yeah,
One of the
there's.
things I can help you out here, Lucien.
Okay, thank
One
you.
of the things
I'm
that I thought
lost.
was really cool when I first saw this is that right now I'm part of the design team for our new structure in the high school. As you guys know, next year
Right.
grade 10s are moving into that, and the year after, all of our grade 11 and 12 learners will be moving into that. So if you guys have any siblings or younger friends taking courses with self-design, they'll be taking it in this way. And the way that it is it's less course based. So similar to some of you guys doing co-design, 11 and 12 right now. You're not like in just a philosophy course and then in just, you kind of talk about them all in one meeting space. And we call them thematic based. It's a thematic based learning. And when I saw this in Lucien's, I thought that it was really cool because like what courses do you think Lucien is kind of covering bits of through this project? Can you guys see a few? Like courses that you might know right now.
There's math, English for writing out the rules, which are very concise, which is nice. I've seen a lot of people write games with less concise rules than that.
Maybe socials, because this year it was a lot about world wars. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool. And then art, because there's a lot of design principles behind like what he's going to show us in a moment, the board that he designed. And
Okay.
but yeah, I thought that was neat. I was like, Lucien, you're super on board with like where we're headed as a school is in more like bigger projects like this that are covering many courses. And then my job as his guiding mentor, what we're going to be calling learning consultants soon, would be to then prompt him a little deeper into some of those areas. And challenge him and say, okay, you've done this math. Now, like, what would happen if you did this, 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 and this in the game? What would you get? And to help him learn through things that he's interested in. Oh, here's the board. I'll mute myself.
You can see it's pretty massive. And it's kind of hard to see because my camera doesn't capture the biggest area. But you might be able to make out these circles here. There's one here, one in the center, and there's two way down at the bottom. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but they are all where you can put your own planet. And what you do is you get these rings of cardboard, and you can design your own what your planet looks like. I guess this is for the Planet Conquer mode. You can just do whatever you want with these regularly. Go over them. They don't exist when you're doing any other mode. But they're part of my favorite mode, and like when you destroy a planet and take it as your own, you then remove the enemy planet and just put yours there. And it's like, okay, I own this planet now. And it's really exciting because like you have all your starting planets at the corners, and then you have all these fleets forming around the planets and like trying to move to the center planet, to the other planets, to try to capture all of them. And it becomes really intense because you're fighting on like all the fronts, I guess you could say. And it's one of my favorite projects to work on. Like I even tried to make a new board. You might be able to see a little glimpse down here. That's tape because I cut this in half to try to use part of it as the new board. but it didn't work because I couldn't replicate the square design because they're so kind of random, I guess you could say. And this is the only board we have to work with, I guess is what I'm getting at. You can't really make another one. Anyways, I feel like I've rambled on about random stuff about it for long enough. Set my cord for my headphones back up because I untangled it from my mess. I guess that's my conclusion there. I'm done.
Thanks for sharing, Lucienne. God, it's so cool seeing you so passionate about something.
Yeah, that was super cool. It's like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
How many players can play it?
Well, okay, so it depends on what mode you're playing. If you're playing a free-for-all, then it's infinite players. Well, no, not infinite, but as many as you can fit, really. And for Planet Conquer, it is 4 players. And for the one that I haven't played yet, that I made, is Protect the Convoy. And you can only have 2 players because you have one person with the convoy trying to get to the other side of the map and one player trying to stop that from happening. Pretty cool.
Sounds cool.
The games can last pretty long too. Like I had a game that lasted like 4 hours.
I'm imagining a marathon. It seems like one of those games where you just like get super into it.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Lucienne or comments on it?
I've got a whole bunch of Lego, so I'll keeping an eye on this doc. I'll hold on to that.
Oh boy, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm. I'll let you know if I play it and give you feedback.
Right. Sounds pretty awesome.
Cool. Wow, nice work, Lucienne. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
sharing that today and coming prepared.
Yeah, prepared. Feels so good.
Learning. Hashtag learning.
Learning. Goofy
All right.
faces.
Last presentation of our day today. We're right on time. Kiana, take it away.
Here we go. So, I'm not going to present my portfolio because there's like a lot of pages on it. But I am going to do like a really quick. I know I've talked about England so much, but it was like literally the highlight of my entire year. So I'm gonna show some of the pictures that I got that I thought were really cool. So the first one was in Oxford.
Oh, pause for 1 second. There's actually a cool way for you to present it up in the top right-hand corner. See the little present button? No, top right-hand corner of your document. There might be another way to get to it, but I see it right there. Yeah, let's do that, and then it'll make it bigger.
Oh, I see. Okay, there we go.
Yay.
Now you can see it better. So this was in Oxford, and I found that little thing that went to the, it said Thames Water on it, and I thought that was really cool. But Ship Street is this building, I think it's from like the 17th century or something, and they used to tax people on really weird things. But one of the things that they taxed people on was how much space your house took up. So to maximize your house space and minimize your tax pay you had to pay, people would build the bottom of their houses smaller than the top. So they would start with the bottom part of it, and then as they built higher levels, they would make them bigger. So it made this really unique looking house that like got bigger, and they were all like wonky, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, that was one of the houses that you were able to see this old style of building. I don't know if you've seen the Harry Potter series, but in the 4th movie, I think, when Professor McGonagall was teaching the kids to do ballroom, this was the room that she taught them in. So you can't really see, but in the middle of the floor would be that huge music player, and they would have been sitting on both sides. And this was like part of what they wanted to show Hogwarts, but that was the room, which I thought was super cool.
It is so beautiful. So is that a church?
It's a university, so it's like one of the 27 colleges.
Wow, it's stunning.
I know, it was so amazing. And there were places that you could go upstairs, but you had to like pay for a tour to do it, and we didn't have enough time. But yeah, it was so beautiful. And then here's some other colleges with like, I think that was part of a library. This is this bridge. Okay, so you can kind of see in this picture, but they built this bridge between these two buildings, but the buildings didn't line up perfectly. So they actually had to build the bridge with a twist in it. So it's not perfectly straight, as you can see there. And I thought that was super cool. Plus, it was a beautiful bridge. This was like the town part of Oxford there. Okay, so C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien were really good friends, and they both taught at Oxford, I think. Either they went to school or they taught at Oxford. I can't remember which one. Anyway, C.S. Lewis lived in this building here, and they had on each side, you can kind of see, it's a really bad picture because there's so many people there, but on each side there were I can't remember, it's Tomlinson, is that what his name is? I haven't read the series in so long, but it's the fun human creature there, and then there's a lamp there, so people believe that this might actually be the inspiration for Narnia, because it's like it really parallels with the series, which I thought was super cool. There's Ship Street again, except further away. So in the middle of Oxford, which was like kind of the tourist part, where there was a whole bunch of shops and restaurants and stuff, there was just this graveyard, this like super old graveyard just in the middle of town. And you can't really see it, but it was like there were roads all around it except for just this one place. And people like lined their bikes up to it, and it was just a graveyard. It was so cool. I thought that it was like super interesting. This was a castle, and I didn't actually go inside the castle because we went to do this like kind of haunted tour thing. We didn't have time to go inside, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was a really good picture, so I decided to put it up anyway. This was Shakespeare's house, which I thought was super cool. And so people would, again, another weird form of tax. A long time ago, they would tax you for how many windows you had. So the more windows each house had, the more it showed that family was wealthy. And windows were something that didn't come with the house. You would bring your windows with you when you moved a house. And as kind of like an old custom, people used to write their names or etch their names onto your windows. So Shakespeare's name is on this window somewhere, along with a whole bunch of other famous people like doctors and authors and stuff from people who stayed in that house. I thought was super interesting. This was in Bath. This was just like a cool graffiti thing I thought was kind of cool. But then this was like this bath. It wasn't actually like one of the old baths, but I thought it looked funny because they were trying to raise money, and it looked you're supposed to throw money in to try and get it into the middle thing, and there was like it looked cool, so I decided to take a picture of it. Again, the baths. Actually, oh yeah, that wasn't the bath. And then, oh yeah, there was this really cool wall in Bath that had all these really old doors. This is a really bad picture of the old door on the wall, but there were a whole bunch of really old doors and with these tiny little windows next to them, and I realized that they were actually all houses like underneath the road, which I thought was super cool. Stonehenge, which was really awesome. As you can see, it was really cloudy, and we were there for like 2 hours, and it was so cloudy and so cold, and right when we left, the sun came out, and it was like beautiful. It was horrible, but it was fine because it's Stonehenge. And then we played, and this was the last church that we played in. When we went, we had like a piece of paper saying all the places we played in, but like no one paid attention to it, so I have no idea what the church was called or where it was, but it was a really cool church, and it was fun to play in. And then London, some pictures of London. So this was the Canterbury Cathedral, which was one of the most cool places that I went. And there were so many beautiful parts to it, and these really old stained glass windows with these beautiful colors. This was in Canterbury while we were walking to the cathedral. It's just like this crooked door that's just put into this house. It's just like a bookstore with a crooked door, which was just so cool. It's not something you would see around here.
Everything looks a little crooked.
I know, and I love it. So this was Leeds Castle, and I couldn't. I had gotten to like. There's still so many pictures that I took that I didn't put in here, but this was part of the library, which I thought was really cool. The castle was so colorful. That's like one of the biggest things, is that a lot of castles here aren't that colorful. They just kind of have like the same general ideas of color, but the ones there, each room has a color theme, and everything fits the theme, but it's all different colors, which I thought was super awesome. But yeah, that's what I got for you.
So, leaving that trip behind you, I don't know why I'm kind of echoey. But I have a question for you about if you could walk away with one highlight from the trip. What would that one highlight be?
Everyone asked me that once I got back, like, what's your favorite part of the trip? And honestly, my favorite part was England, to be honest. But I think the Canterbury Cathedral. Okay, I didn't get any pictures of it because you weren't supposed to take pictures, but in the Canterbury Cathedral, the oldest part of it was this kind of basement part that had very few windows, and it was like a place of prayer, and you weren't supposed to take pictures of it. So basically you went down there, and it was this really haunting part of the cathedral that was all stone with like no significant stained glass windows, but it was really cool. It was a really cool experience to be somewhere that you knew you would only see if you were there, because you don't take pictures of them. So that was cool. I liked the Canterbury Cathedral. It was so beautiful.
Any questions for Kiana?
I had one and I forgot it, so I'm gonna keep trying to remember that.
What was your highlight instead of the main one is the issue? Like,
Yeah,
you saw a lot of really beautiful things, and I'm not really even sure where to start.
I really did. Even just driving by the countryside, there were these little cottages that were just so cute. I loved it there. It was so much fun.
It looked really beautiful. That, I guess it's not a question, but just like, I'm really glad you had a good time and got a chance
That's
to do
life
that.
changing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so-
totally life changing.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so not really a question, but I just want to say that castles are like some of my favorite old structures.
Mm-hmm.
They're so cool.
They really are amazing. And I went to 2 castles. And in one of the castles, we went into the quote-unquote dungeons, which was
Oh
like
boy.
kind of the basement of the castle. But they had set up this whole thing where they basically like taught you about different torture techniques. But it was like
Fun.
a staged actor thing. It was really interesting. But the first thing I noticed was the hallways were so small. Like, I even had to duck, and I'm 5'3".
Wow.
I know.
It's a castle for midgets.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if that's because of building or because of like defensive strategy. Because like,
I
Oh.
don't know. Some of them were
Space
normal.
saving?
Yeah, I mean the hallways in the actual castle part were really tall, but in like the dungeon they were tiny. I was
I
like,
get it.
Elaborate.
I feel
August,
really
what's
bad
the
for the guy
strategy?
standing behind me who was 6'5".
Huh.
Oh my gosh. August,
I could-
elaborate on your defensive strategy, what you were meaning with that.
well, like castles have all the stairways, all the spiral staircases go down in one direction, at least the small ones. so that people were able to fight right-handed, but the other people coming up would be fighting left-handed, or just have to use their shield. There'd be room for them to swing around with their right hand.
What?
Cool.
So-
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was just wondering if like, oh, maybe it's shorter so that, I don't know, the
Someone's
invading-
trying to run
like
through,
that.
they get hit their head if they didn't
Yeah.
pay attention.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, sorry. to
Very
distract
cool.
you.
Nice hypothesizing.
I can just imagine like a knight running through trying to siege the castle and he just gets completely decked by a doorway.
Oh yeah.
There were so many knight costumes, and you're standing there going, "Ha, knight costume," but then you realize these are actually knight costumes that have been there for hundreds of years, and you're like, what?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Thanks, Kiana, for sharing that with us. I've been looking forward to that for a while. Hearing about your trip and the detail with the pictures. It's so cool. I'm going to stop the recording now, and each of you can upload this into your Mahara or your Moodle space.